You're listening to Coffee Connection with your host Aisha, and this is part 3 of our series with Seba Ali. And she, as you know, is a licensed professional counselor, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and she does individual therapy as well as workshops on a whole host of issues. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, Aisha. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, it's no complaints. Alhamdulillah, life is good.
Good, good. It shows.
Thanks.
Alhamdulillah. So, we have done two segments already, one on premarital counseling. The second one has been on spouse selection, especially जो parental role है spouse selection process. आज का जो topic है, it is the ingredients to build a strong foundation for marriage. A very, very important topic. Before we proceed, I'll give you Seba's phone number 214-395-5463, and you can check out her website sebaalitherapy.com, and Seba is spelled SAIHBA, sebaalitherapy.com. So Seba, शुरू करते हैं एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन से, ठीक है, कि व्हाट बिल्ड्स दैट लास्टिंग कनेक्शन बिटवीन टू पीपल. ये जो इमोशनल कनेक्शन जो होता है beyond just getting along, how does it
Right.
form?
Right. So, getting along, compatibility in terms of just kind of knowing what someone likes, what someone doesn't like, that's basically just knowing about each other. The real connection, let's suppose you're recently married, or you're engaged, you're nikahd, you're in about to get married. The real connection building begins with taking care of each other, getting to know each other, doing certain communication skills with each other, having a pattern of forming and building that connection. Now, you might ask, how do you build those connections, right? So, it's first of all, we take a lot of things very easy. We take it for granted, like having each other and being able to speak to each other. You want to make it more intentional.
Okay.
You want to make sure that you are very aware of how you're connecting with your spouse. When we go out, we're in public, we're at work, we are tuned into people. We are really kind of listening to people or trying to connect with them. But at home, we end up taking each other for granted. So the way you build connection is you form certain habits.
Okay.
You intentionally form certain habits with each other. It may seem very sterile, like, oh, that sounds like, what do we do every day? Like asking each other how your day was, asking open-ended questions, more like, hey, what was the high of the day for you? What was the low of the day for you? Not something that gets answered, it was good or it was bad. So any connection is anytime you connect with each other, there is you're building a cushion for your relationship. So asking each other meaningful questions, really, really being accessible, being responsive, and being engaged in that conversation. So let's suppose I was sitting here and I'm like, and you see that. What would you do if I just went like,
Oh, obviously it affects me as a host. Like, oh my God, I have to pull things out of her. She is not interested in doing this.
right?
Yeah.
So kind of asking, what was that? Like, what's happening? Are you okay? A lot of times we ignore these micro expressions. So you want to catch those.
Are those micro expressions or micro aggressions?
You need to find out, right? You need to have that attitude of curiosity. Maybe it is microaggression. Maybe something did happen during the day that your partner is worried about. So asking the right questions and being like, you just sighed there. What's going on? Are you okay? And actually being interested and actually listening to the other person. Because the more you connect with each other, the more you think of it as a bank account. You are making deposits in the emotional bank account.
Okay.
And so every connection is a deposit. It doesn't matter what it is about. It could just simply be, look at the red bird out the window. You could be like, oh yeah, it's a pretty bird. Or you could be like, what? And then just go back to doing that's a failed bid. So with Gottmans, they call every conversation or every question that a spouse or partner asks the other person is a bid for connection. You want to respond to that bid for connection.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Interesting.
and so every bid that goes to waste or not answered is a chance that has you've lost a chance, you failed at a chance to connect with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
So connecting in that way.
Mm-hmm.
There is something also that's called, like, I'm leaning on Safe Conversations. Harville and Helen Hendricks do amazing work here in the Texas area. So these safe conversations are based on creating happy families and creating a mode of connection and communication.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that they do is an appreciation dialogue.
Okay.
So an appreciation dialogue is where you speak to each other, appreciating something about each other.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't just end at a compliment. Like, it's not just that, oh, you look nice today. That's not just it. For
Mm-hmm.
example, like, it has to dig a little bit deeper. You really want to express the emotion and make sure that the person hears you, gets it. And those expressions, those positive expressions, are going to go a long way in the relationship. When, let's suppose, you say something, you give a negative feedback to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to go a long way. So, in fact, do you want to try an appreciation dialogue?
Sure. Why not? Why not? Put
Okay.
put me on the hot seat here.
All right. It's actually going to be a cushiony seat because I'm going to appreciate it.
Okay.
One of the important things in an appreciation dialogue or communication that you actually
Mm-hmm.
is to make sure that in any communication there's a sender and a receiver.
Okay.
If you're sending, the receiver has to be in a position to receive the message.
Mm.
Ready to receive the message, nothing you say is going to get through. If you're rushing out the door, you're late, and your husband says, "Oh, I loved what you did with your hair," you're going to be like, "What? Okay, bye." Like, I'm in a rush. Like, I can't talk to you right now. So that's just, it didn't work at that. So the first thing is, I'll ask you, Aisha, I'd like to share an appreciation with you. Is this a good time?
Oh, okay. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, what I appreciate about you is that you're very calm. Your presence is very calming. You have you are very, it seems like you have everything under control. I'm sure you do. It seems like you have everything under control and you're very calm.
Oh,
And yeah,
thank
that's
you.
a great thing about you. Now, the next step is, I want you to say it back to me, the appreciation I made towards you. So you
Mhm.
want to repeat it to me.
Okay.
So what you appreciate about me is, go ahead and say that.
So exactly what you told me.
Yeah, yeah.
So what you appreciate about me is the fact that I stay very calm,
Hmm.
and I seem that way to you, that I have everything under control.
Absolutely. Well, that's right. And the reason I asked you to say that is, sometimes you may appreciate something about the other person, but they may not hear it. It's
Mm.
really important that you heard what the person said.
Okay.
So when you repeat it, it gets solidified. Okay, that's what she said. And then you get to ask, is there more to it? So it's like an onion, peel more layers.
Okay.
So ask me, is there more to it?
Okay. Is there more to it?
Yeah, it just creates an environment of safety when you're that calm, and it makes you, it creates that the situation's under control, that kind of a feeling.
Okay.
Okay, so the next step is that the next sentence step is that when I see you being calm,
Mhm.
it makes me feel. So how does it affect me?
Okay. How
So
does it affect you?
So when I see you being calm, it makes me very much more confident
Mhm.
about my presentation.
Mm.
So I may be running late, I may not be prepared, or when I see your calming presence gives me a sense of calmness and being in control. So it calms me. It has that effect on me.
Okay. Well, that's very good to know. It makes me feel good when you say these things.
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine if we were to do this
Mhm.
with our spouses or our children
Mhm.
in a routine. And it doesn't just end at, this is how it makes me feel. Is there more to it? So you want to dig deeper and
Mhm.
get to the core of how it affects other person. So not only do you know now that you have a calm presence, you know how it affects me and how
Mm.
valuable it is to me.
Mhm.
So this is one of the ways that you could connect with each other. And we can put up sentence stems on the on your website or something where people will know how the whole exercise goes.
Oh, this is very, very useful.
Yeah, this can be very useful.
And I really like what you said that, and we've actually did this in a show on Double Shot Espresso, that it's important to just not ask questions which have yes or no answers,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
It's knowing what the other person wants and
Mhm.
asking the question in that way. But Seba, all this takes time and effort.
Well, this is the most okay. It's very obvious that if the relationship at home doesn't isn't working out, or if there's conflict there, or if you're not in sync with each other, haven't you felt that everything out there, nothing seems to matter anymore?
Yes.
Because we go out every day, we face the world, we are doing our work, like all of this. It's not, I'm not saying this is a war zone or these are enemies, but these are all stressful environments to some extent. We
Mhm.
are that won't cut us too much slack.
Mhm.
We are required to do things a certain way. We need to root for each other. This is home is a safe place, couple is a safe place, family is a safe place.
Mhm.
So we need to build each other up. We need to give each other the support that we need to do what we need to do out there,
Mhm.
because no one else is going to do that. So we spend so much time on cleaning the house, maybe, or making sure everything is lined up a certain way or not, or social activities, or even performing extra at work. This is what affects us the most.
Mm.
So we've got to take out some time, and this could take like 10 minutes maybe,
Right.
and just uh, making sure you appreciate each other as you go along the day, say nice things to each other, build each other up to face the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one of the very basis of a good relationship is healthy communication,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And how do we build these healthy communication habits right from the beginning? अक्सर मैंने देखा है कि शुरू में it's all lovey-dovey and appreciating each
Mm-hmm.
other and
Mm-hmm.
communicating, but then communication becomes an effort.
Right.
And second thing is then all the other negative things come in, like gaslighting and stonewalling and things like that. So navigate us through this.
Right. And so, first of all, we both are very strong proponents of premarital counseling, right?
Mhm.
So within that setup, you do learn communication skill sets. You do learn how to speak about the good things in life, how to speak about the frustrations or the negative things. A lot of, the most important thing in communication is how you say it to each other and how you react to each other. It's not the things that matter, it's just how it is said or how it comes through to the other person, saying it at the wrong time. So knowing all those nuances, there are methods of speaking to each other about conflict or different situations and understanding each other, and that really helps with the premarital counseling. But even if you're a newly married couple, even if you've been married for a long time, it really does help to go for therapy and learn those.
Mhm.
One of those things is, for example, an important thing to know is the ratio of successful marriages
Mhm.
is compliments and appreciations and good comments 5:1
Okay.
to a negative feedback.
Say that again. That's so important.
So the ratio for successful marriages where couple is in love and they're able to manage life well is 5:1 in terms of compliments, positive interactions, positive feedback versus negative feedback. There shouldn't even be criticism, there can be negative feedback.
Mm.
So if you maintain that 5:1 ratio, it's really important. Sometimes I'd give people bracelets to
Mhm.
make sure that they kind of move it to the other hand when you have one compliment and then go to 5.
Okay.
But if you maintain that, then your interaction is more positive than negative.
Okay.
That builds a good friendly communication. And so that's one of the things. And then remaining engaged, remaining compassionate, asking questions, sharing. There are methods of sharing your. So every conflict or every negative feeling is a dream that's not been realized.
Mm.
It's a need that hasn't been met.
Okay.
So getting to the core of it. So if you're angry about something,
Mhm.
asking you in a way to understand. Sometimes, a lot of times, what couples do is they don't want to know what's going on with you because somehow it's going to come back and,
To them.
yeah, to them. And so, not having that mindset, being able to speak about, okay, what happened there, like what were you upset about, and really understanding it, really understanding the inner world of your spouse.
Hmm.
If you do, then you have compassion and you have a different take on maybe a behavior that you didn't like. So that dialogue of compassion and understanding each other, sharing dreams, connecting in a routine, those are the kind of things that builds communication skills. And then, conflict management is also a difficult thing to manage, but then if you have the tools, you can.
Right. And that would be my next question. But such an important point, because if you don't express yourself,
Mhm.
how does your partner know what
Right.
has hurt them or what they want?
Exactly. And if you don't provide the space for your partner to express themselves
Hmm.
without judgment,
Hmm.
a lot of times people come to therapy because they have someone that's listening to them without judgment. That is so important, just to be there and to listen to each other without judgment, with compassion. Doesn't mean that everything has to translate into action. You don't have to fix everything,
Hmm.
but just giving each other that space to share it is really important.
Yeah. All right. Talking about conflict, so how can we disagree respectfully
Mhm.
without letting conflict damage the relationship?
So, one of the most critical things about that is making sure that you're using more of I statements than you statements.
Okay.
You speak about your feelings.
Hmm.
First of all, with Gottmans, they did a lot of research on marriage, and they followed couples for over a 30-year period to see who was being successful, and they studied the masters of the relationship
Hmm.
as opposed to the destructive relationships, like people who had it right, who were doing well.
Okay.
And what they found out is that every marriage has conflict.
Hmm.
They managed the conflicts well. They did a lot of emotional bank account deposits.
Hmm.
And those are the emotional bank account deposits were the ones that helped them through the conflict, because you have so much goodwill with each other. You know that this person appreciates these things about me. So, what if he's giving me a negative feedback? He
Hmm.
likes 10 things about me.
Hmm.
I can handle one negativity, and then taking accountability during a conflict, like not getting too defensive during a conflict, like taking, okay, maybe this is what I did wrong, but this is how I can work
Fix
on
it.
this. But it's more like, if I were to say, for example, if I were to say, Aisha, I don't like it when you rush me through the questions or something. It's just me blaming you, or it's going to put you on the defensive. But
Hmm.
if I were to say that, I get flustered when I feel rushed,
Mm.
that's a completely different thing.
Hmm.
I get nervous if I feel rushed. So it's not me saying you're rushing me, it's me expressing to you what I am suffering through, and that's a
I
very
see.
big difference in how you handle a
So,
conflict.
how you say it
Is very
is very, very important.
absolutely, how you say it more important than what you're saying. Like, everything, if it's said the right way,
Hmm.
then it doesn't feel like an attack, and you don't get defensive. There are people who go into, like, there are four major things, that negative things that people do in a conflict or an argument.
Hmm.
One is criticism, second is defensiveness, and then, stonewalling each other,
Hmm.
being very defensive and stonewalling each other. With stonewalling, it can be actually not talking, walking away from each other, those kind of things. So,
Mm, absolutely. And of course, yelling is a big one, right?
yelling is a big one. How you talk about it, taking time. And there are steps in that. Like, if you share an appreciation with each other every day, make it a point to appreciate each other. And then there's something that we call the State of the Union. Like, once a week,
Hmm.
set up a time to talk about issues. Talk about not necessarily issues, just checking in on what's working, what's not working, what's
Hmm.
happening in your world, what's happening in our world, and then just figuring that out. So taking that time out to talk about things is really important.
Mm. Scheduling time.
scheduling time.
Okay. What about recurring arguments? What's the best way to deal with arguments that keep coming up and it's the same issue over and over and over again?
If it's the same issue over and over again, chances are that the person's not feeling heard.
Mm-hmm.
If two people, and this is very often it happens that if you notice an argument the couple's going through, if you were to see it, it's like they're both saying the same things
Mm-hmm.
over and over for years. The problem is they feel not being heard.
Mm-hmm.
If they felt heard, they won't feel the need to repeat it. People repeat things because they don't feel heard.
Okay.
So the most important thing is reflecting back, like sitting down and being like, okay, so you feel that I don't care about you, or you don't feel cared about when this happens. When you repeat that to the person, they're like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. There's just a huge relief. And so with the recurring arguments, all conflicts, there are solvable conflicts and then there are perpetual conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
Not all conflicts are solvable. Maybe you will not get to an understanding or agreement on some, recognizing that this is a conflict that we cannot solve,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to agree to disagree,
Mm-hmm.
and giving each other the compassion and understanding that, I understand you feel this way, we don't agree on this, but doing whatever you can to reassure each other and moving away from that for the
Okay.
conflicts that are not solvable.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that are solvable, speaking about it in a way where one person speaking, the other is listening, taking turns to speak, taking turns to reflect, trying to understand, because you cannot get anywhere without understanding each other's inner world. You'd be going around in circles. Unless and until you get to the bottom of where one person is coming from, you won't get the complete understanding. So you both need to understand each other's inner world and then be like, okay, so maybe that's not what I meant when I said that, but you are viewing it as that because you were thinking like that. Okay, so maybe next time I could do it this way and it won't hurt you. So you can come to some compromise or some give and take some responsibility on, okay, I'm not going to do this in the future. I'll do it this way. Can you do this for me?
Mm.
So a lot of dialogue with the right tools really helps.
Yes, absolutely. But I have often seen
Hmm.
when people ask for your opinion, they actually don't want to hear what you have to say. They just want you to agree with them,
Yeah.
right?
It depends, right? A lot of times, like depending on who's asking. Give me a reference. Give me something to refer.
Just I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, and they asked me for my opinion about some restaurant, and I said it, and they're like, no, but you always say this about this restaurant, and I said, yes, but that is actually how I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they said, well, you need to change what you are thinking, and I said, I can't change what I'm thinking. That's my opinion.
Right. And you know that you'll come across people like that who don't want to. I think it's such a loss to that person who doesn't want to learn. I mean, I always say you shouldn't be someone who gets swayed by all opinions. At the same time, you should always ask. You should always listen to other people. Maybe I tell my interns and the people that I've worked supervised in the past that I have never come out of a session
Mhm.
with a client without having learned something from them.
Hmm.
Like they are there to seek my advice, but if you are not open to reflecting sincerely on what someone is saying, then you're missing out on that. You don't have to agree with that,
Mhm.
but you have to be open. And if these are people who are not open to a response, then nothing can convince them.
Wow. So one of the biggest elements of emotional safety in a marriage is
being prov- uh, being heard,
being heard.
and not being judged for what you're thinking, working through that. So, most importantly, is being heard, knowing that you have a safe space to express what you're thinking.
Mhm.
Even if it's not something the other person wants to hear, saying it in the right way. Because I keep coming back to it. How do you not know each other's inner worlds? How do you think you can get through life and its obstacles without knowing what's happening inside you?
Mhm.
and what your thoughts are. And if you won't give each other that space to share, then you won't know. Then you will get confused. Then you will get frustrated with each other. So it's important to have that space to share. One of the ways of that space, how do you know each other, is love maps from Gottman's.
Mm-hmm.
So, love maps, like I know when people get married, they're engaged, they're so eager to know everything about each other. Like,
Yeah.
what do you like? What color do you like? What's like everything? It begins with
Mm-hmm.
everything. And they're very eager, they're very interested in knowing.
Mm-hmm.
But as we grow in the marriage, we just somehow lose that. We just get used to each other and we're not taking as much of an interest.
Mm-hmm.
Love maps is a set of deck of cards that you can even find on an app. It is a way to get to know the inner world of your spouse all the time. Like there are questions on there, or you need to ask each other questions to find out what's going on in your inner world. So, for example, maybe you knew who your husband's two best friends were
Mm-hmm.
at one time, but have you asked him recently?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not the same people. Maybe there's questions like, what was the best thing that you like to do at that work, or what's your most favorite cuisine these days. We don't ask each other those
Right.
questions.
We don't.
So let me put you on the spot.
Okay.
What do you think was your husband's best vacation? If you were to ask him, what was your best vacation ever?
Mm-hmm.
What would he say?
Okay. So one I think I know is when he took the kids to Maine last year to Bar Harbor,
Okay.
and that they all say it was our best vacation ever.
Uh-huh. Okay,
So
nice.
that was probably one of them. And I think we did this thing called the Great American Road Trip,
Oh,
where he
wow.
has a pickup truck, and we all used to go to different drive across the US to go
Mm-hmm.
visit different NFL stadiums.
Nice.
It was my older son's senior trip.
Mm-hmm.
And we drove from here all the way to California and back, and stopped at different places along the way, and it was a 2-week trip, and it
Wow.
was absolutely phenomenal. So I'm going to put that down in there because I was there with them.
Mashallah, that sounds so lovely. That's such a
Yeah,
sounds like a lovely trip.
it really was.
So now, I don't know, not right now, but you need to check with him if you
I
were
will.
right.
I will.
So you ask each other these questions, and then you are like, okay, if it's true, it's true. If not, then they can be like, yeah, you're right about that. But then that I had this trip, or
Mhm.
I did this thing, and that was more fun. So that's a way to know the inner maps of each other,
Mhm.
other's life. So keeping in touch with each other, knowing each other that way. It's just something you go out to dinner,
Yeah.
you said you talk about things, then there are open-ended questions you should ask each other.
Mhm.
That way you know more about each other's worlds. So those are
So
ways of
interesting.
connecting. Yeah,
My mind is spinning because this is going to be dinner time conversation for us.
absolutely, for you and even with the kids.
Kids, yeah.
Yeah, asking them things and getting to know
Mhm.
that's like half the battle won. If you know each other
Right.
really well,
Yeah.
then you know what everyone's clicks are, what everyone's triggers are,
Mhm.
for negative things as well.
Yes, that's actually one of the things that we do at dinner time, and we're blessed that everybody's home and having dinner together, and we ask each other, how was your day? But not just how was your day, good, bad, but tell us what happened in the day today.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
And by the time we just go around the table, dinner's done, and
Yeah, and
so
that's a great way of doing that, because so many times, like, parents of teenagers also are like, we ask them, how was school? Good.
good.
How was this? I don't care. Like, the responses are very unresponsive. So I
Yes.
used to do with my kids is, tell me the best and the worst of the day.
Mm,
So they'd have to think about it, like what was the best and what was the worst. And by knowing the best and the worst, there is so much insight you're getting into the other person. Because it may
absolutely.
be something that's not the best and worst for you,
Hmm.
but you know how, okay, so why did that feel so bad? Like, that happen. Okay, and then the conversation continues to get to know them deeper.
Absolutely. And the key thing I think in all this is there are some people who don't who are just happy not to communicate, right?
Hmm.
They just sit back, they let others dominate the conversation.
Right.
So when you do this kind of exercise, it actually forces the people who are an introvert to
Yeah.
speak up and share about their day and also get comfortable talking with others.
Absolutely, that's a very valuable point. I mean, some people are, private. They don't like it's not that easy for them to share, and that's
Right.
a very important point.
Yeah.
Yes.
And going to that point, sort of expanding on it, what if people grew up in an environment
Hmm.
where emotions weren't talked about, right?
Hmm.
So, how do these family dynamics from childhood show up in marriage?
So it is naturally, family of origin dynamics do affect us. The way really emotions were modeled to us, the way were we allowed to express anger or frustration, or we weren't allowed to express it? Were we physically expressive towards each other? Was this a group where we complement each other? All of these habits do affect us, but that does not mean that it has to be that way
Hmm.
forever. Like, the first step is to recognize what your family of origin environment was, and to maybe evaluate and gauge if that's something that you would like to carry forth. If not, you can make an active effort to change that. It's
Hmm.
not set in stone. So, identifying, relating, yes, it's difficult because it wasn't modeled to you. But when you come at a stage where you're wanting to get married and raising children, you can, I mean, definitely come up with a plan that's a self differentiated plan
Hmm.
to go forward in a way that, we didn't do much of this, but I want to do this in my marriage.
So, it's recognizing it.
It's recognizing it, knowing it, understanding it. And a lot of that comes from being asked the right questions. Like, if in premarital counseling, I'd ask them, so how was, achievement reacted to, or how was achievement treated in your home? How
Hmm.
was this? And then they start talking and they're like, you know what? Yeah, this is how I remember it was done. Would you like to change anything about it?
Hmm.
Because you have a choice.
Right.
And it's two people coming together with their own family systems dynamics, and then they form a new world, hopefully a better one. They learn from their parents mistakes. We are perfect, but not always. And then build their own, hopefully better than what they had,
Mm.
inshallah.
Seva, this is very interesting because you have counseled a lot of kids who did premarital counseling with you.
Hmm.
Did any of them ever come back after they got married and had issues?
I'm so glad you asked that, Aisha. That's such a important question. Yes, a lot of them would. And I wasn't, it came, I also stumbled upon this as, wow, this is what is happening. This phenomena is when they'd come in for premarital counseling, they'd go through the whole program, understand communication skills, conflict resolution skills.
Hmm.
And then, maybe 6 months later, a year later, at different times, one of them would call and say, hey, by the way, we're having some issues with a specific thing in our marriage. We tried to use some of the techniques, but we'd
Hmm.
like more help talking about it.
Mm.
And they'd come back in for a session to talk about it. And I would love that, because they worked on this. They came across a problem, just which was like a minor problem in their life at this time, and they had the option. They knew me enough to pick up the phone and call and come in and resolve that issue before it became really big, as opposed to people coming down 20 years after marriage, 8 years after marriage, and being
Mhm.
like, this is what we are suffering with. So, having been in premarital counseling, they have this access to a therapist that they trust. It's not a mystery anymore. It's not stigma. It's not, who am I going to call? I need to research and find out if there's a therapist that understands us. Nothing. They just pick up the phone, call, come in, get insight into their issues, and hopefully build a better marriage, inshallah. So I am like, okay, this is great. Even if they come in for a few sessions earlierly, I would love to provide my children with that option to go to a neutral person
Mhm.
and speak about this and figure things out.
What a great resource.
Absolutely. And Aisha, it was different for us maybe because I think our generations, like previous generations, were a little bit more because we were surrounded by family and friends, and it was a more open environment. We'd share, everybody kind of knew what was going on in each other's lives. So there would be adults or parents or khalas or cousins advising you.
Nasihate.
Nasihate. We got a lot of nasihate, we got a lot of insight,
Yeah.
but now people are more private. We don't know what's going on in anybody's life. There
No,
aren't those
you
resources,
don't
right?
know what goes on behind closed doors.
Absolutely. And I would encourage, I hate it that we have, there's a lot of people who have close friends, but they don't know. People don't share what's going on in their lives. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm not saying you go and spill the beans to everyone, but there has to be some consultation. There has to be somewhere you could go, some resources that you could talk to someone, even if it's not a therapist, if it's your friend. But
Mhm.
if you don't even know what's going on, you don't have that support system. So I think it's really valuable to have that support system and a counselor that you can go back to, if not otherwise.
Absolutely, absolutely essential.
Yes, I
Yeah.
would say.
Do you counsel your kids?
I mean, I would love to if they'd listen. It's the same. Like someone else saying the same thing to them, they'd listen to. But with me, they are very, very, very. They're like, "Are you putting your counselor hat on?" I'm like, "Nope, my
No.
hands off." But it's not. It's not. I'd be fair. I probably won't have the right perspective.
Mhm.
I was speaking to someone, I think yesterday, a friend of ours, a
Mhm.
common friend of ours, and that's what I was telling her, that maybe you as a parent would say exactly the same things to your child in
Yeah.
a situation that I would, but they won't listen to you. They
Yes.
listen to me.
Mhm.
Like our children used to come from school and be like, the teacher said, I'm like, I've been saying this for 5 years, and now the teacher says, and you listen to it.
True.
So it is that bias is there,
Yes.
apart from the knowledge, I guess.
Right. Right. Seba, we've talked a little bit about conflict. How do you keep love and affection going during the stressful points in marriage?
Uh, it's different for different people. Like I have a couple, just to throw off that example, that they're very when they might have conflicts and issues in their life. When it gets too much, they decide, you know what, we're going to take a vacation.
Mm.
And when they say we're taking a vacation, they're taking a vacation from everything. So the couple would take off for 2 days, 3 days, whatever they could afford. And it was an understood pact between them that we are not going to talk about anything to do with any issues, any
Mm.
triggers.
Mm.
We're just going to relax, have a great time, go on a vacation, come back. And they'd have a great time. They'd listen to songs that connect, like the small talk. They would have these trigger topics that they don't speak about, which would be pretty much a lot of things they wouldn't speak about.
Okay.
But then they'd end up connecting on a different level with each other. And
Mm.
that reminded them of the good in each other, or of the calmness between them, of the sakina between them, of the
Mhm.
ability for them to enjoy life or food or dinner or things or drives with each other, or the songs they like
Right.
with each other. So that's one way. But the important thing is that not ignoring the conflicts. I think by ignoring all the issues, we think we're sweeping it under the rug and they're going to be resolved over time. That's not a good idea.
Mm.
Make sure you face it on, you have a discussion in a good, maybe in a therapeutic setting, about any issues, and you keep doing the love map things, you keep doing the appreciation things, you
Mhm.
keep that up, and that way you keep the positive lines active throughout, even
Mm.
if there are negative. Understand that there is conflict, that issue may not be a resolvable issue, but there's so much good in the relationship as well. So
Right.
focusing on the positive, and which again positive appreciations, love maps, open-ended questions, those are the kind of things that are going to help you get over the negative parts.
Yeah, because some people deal with conflict by giving the silent treatment.
Yes.
What effect does that have on the relationship?
So the silent treatment is one of the four horsemen from Gottman, which is stonewalling.
Hmm.
People, and I've heard so many couples say, like, I don't even say anything to her, I'm just silent. I'm like, that That is a form of aggression. It's not, silence is not just that's a reaction.
Mhm.
So silent treatment or stonewalling is a result of sometimes people feeling threatened to a point where they cannot handle. It's a fight or flight response.
Mhm.
It is actually saying that I cannot handle this. I don't know how to deal with this. So I'm just going to back off. And not only is that person feeling isolated, but the person who has an issue is feeling very frustrated, unheard, and angry that we're not talking about this, we're not resolving this. So it's not good. But understanding why that is happening is important, that it's
Mhm.
a fight or flight response, and then figuring out a way to get out of that situation. For example, I tell couples that sometimes when they're in a heated argument, one of them will walk away, be like, I can't deal with this right now. So it's okay to not want to continue a discussion, because there is something called diffused physiological arousal, which is that when you are in a a fight or flight situation, when you feel so threatened, our reptilian instinct comes into play and we are looking for survival, and survival is fight or flight.
Mhm.
And so when a person gets to that stage, the oxygen flow is reduced, and you go through all these symptoms where your brain is not really functioning right. You're in your emotional brain, you're not able to apply logic to the conversation. And in that state is when you talked about two people are just screaming at each other. No
Mhm.
one's listening.
Yeah.
They're saying the same things, and they're in that highly volatile stage. No one is going to go anywhere with that conversation. Nothing good is going to come out of it. It's a good idea to take a break. It's a good idea to have an understanding that when it gets to that point, we need to stop talking
Mhm.
and we need to take a break. Taking a break at least for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And I mean, there's no time limit unless you are in a calmer state of mind, unless you
Mm.
can apply the executive functionings of your brain is back in order and you're able
Yeah.
to apply it. The main thing, though, is that if one person keeps walking out of the conversation saying, I am, I can't deal with this, I'm triggered, I'm walking away, the other person feels really, really frustrated that issue is never going to get resolved. So it's important for the person that's walking away to give a time or some appointment for when they're going to come back to the conversation.
Mhm.
So I can't deal with this right now, but how about we speak about this tomorrow at 10 a.m.?
Because that shows you care about
That
the
shows you care.
relationship.
You care about the relationship and you care about what the other person has to say.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's very convenient sometimes to just walk away and be like, okay, I'm done talking about this. You both have to have gotten to some resolution, even if it is to agree to disagree, even if it is to have heard each other.
Mhm.
You don't have to change, you don't have to exactly implement what the other person's saying, but you just must make each other feel heard and understood.
What a key point that is.
Yes.
And I think that helps to, like you're saying, connect to individuals and tell to individuals that, that you care about each
Yeah,
other, for
absolutely.
sure. Right.
Sure.
We're in conversation with Seba Ali. The time is flying by. I still have a couple of questions, but it's been so interesting. Seba, what's one small thing that couples can do daily to feel more connected?
I think I'll call it the superpower of each couple. There's multiple things.
Okay.
One would be empathy, X-ray vision.
Mm-hmm.
That would be your superpower. So just always react to the other person with empathy. Just do not assume that it's about you. Do not assume that it is something that the person's saying to you. Just responding with empathy. Pause is a very important thing. Just before responding, pause for a second to any response. Whenever you feel triggered, whenever you're going to come up with a negative response, pause.
Pause.
And then obviously the appreciation dialogue, the love maps, compliments. Just do not, never go miserly on your compliments. It always matters.
They're
It
so
always.
stingy.
It's, don't be stingy with that. Just do it. Just say it.
Mm.
And then there's more de-escalation would be just pause.
Mhm.
That would be a de-escalation magic. Humor. just bringing some humor into it. Are we seriously fighting about this? Are we seriously doing this? Just bringing humor into situations helps too. So those are but the main would be holding space for each other, giving each other the space to be able to say without being very reactive.
Mhm.
That's, I think, a very important thing, being able to speak to each other.
Wow, very nice. And what are some signs that you feel that a couple might need therapy, even though things seem fine?
I think if you're viewing someone, or if you're in the relationship, if you feel like you're giving in all the time, see, it's important in a marriage for both of the people's need being met.
Mm.
If one person's needs being met and you're okay, you're just constantly giving in, okay, I'm gonna do this, okay, I don't care what restaurant we go to, we'll just go wherever you want to go. It seems like it's okay, but eventually you're building resentment. It's not a great idea to do that.
Mhm.
Even if you may be someone really nice and giving, but gradually, sooner, you're basically adding points there. There is a counter happening somewhere, and someday on something you're going to tell your spouse, of all the things that I've done to you, all the times I've done what I didn't want, you wanted to do, and I didn't want to do. And the person's going to turn around like, when? What? I have no idea what you're talking about. You didn't want to do that? I didn't know that. So you're not even giving them a chance to take care of you or get your needs met. And then you're building resentment and being angry at them.
Mm.
But they have no clue that you are making compromises. So I think being assertive enough to actually put out your needs
Mhm.
is important. Otherwise, it builds into resentment, and then it does a lot of damage to the relationship.
Mm. Very interesting. And what habits do you see in the strongest, happiest couples?
Most of what we talked about, the strongest, happiest couple expect that relationship is hard work.
Mhm.
Marriage is hard work. It's a give and take, it's a compromise. Um, it's just some marriages have a different set of compromises, some marriages have a different set of compromises, especially when I talk to couples who are thinking about getting divorced because this is not what they wanted. It's like, okay, so you're going to exchange this for another set of compromises. It's not that there's no perfect marriage out there. Every marriage requires some work and some compromises. So remember, the couples who have it right don't have an ideal for a way a marriage is supposed to be. They are not, they're looking at their marriage with more positivity, that we have this much good in the marriage. Yes, we are struggling with this, but we have so much good in the marriage.
Mhm.
So those who have those kind of expectations are content in their marriages.
Yeah.
But those who are expecting things to be, perfect, I say perfection is for heaven.
All right, beautifully put. And what an interesting, and invaluable segment with Seba Ali. She's a LPCS and
Yes, yes,
FMFTS.
thank you. Recently, yes.
And you can connect with her 469-443-6773. By the way, she does workshops on different topics, okay, and she can do customized workshops. So get your, you know, kids friends together, get your friends together. She can put together a premarital and marital workshop for you, a session for young adults and parents to navigate expectations and spouse selection, space for teens and parents to enhance the communication and connection within, blended family workshops, marriage renewal workshops for empty nesters. So please take advantage of all that she is offering. 469-443-6773, or visit sebaalitherapy.com, or Kame Hearts of Texas is her Insta handle. Absolutely wonderful segment today. Really, really enjoyed it.